And we're live.
So, Skip, I could foul out every game and you don't have to hit a 3-pointer and we can still win. How's that feel? I know you like that, Skip. I know you like the Boston Tea Party, especially you drinking tea right now. So,
All right.
good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in until the point with
Skip.
and the King. You guys know what to do. Go down there, click subscribe, click like, leave a comment. We love you guys. We love all your support. Thank you guys so much for your support and supporting our fantastic guests, especially right now. We got from the East Coast, the one and only, the Coach Tim Roache. How you doing today, my brother?
Good to be back on the show.
No Nick Nurse joke this time. All right.
Well, Nick Nurse's doppelganger. Skip, you're killing me, Skip. You're killing me, Smalls. Okay, he is Nick Nurse's doppelganger. Starbucks can tell you that.
It's true.
You guys, right? So, guys, let's get right into this. Currently, in case you have not been sleeping, in case you've been sleeping under a rock, you are not aware that the Toronto Raptors are out of the NBA playoffs, right? If you are a hardcore fan, you want to see them get back to that pinnacle where they are the championship team. Now, in order for them to do that, Skip, I have to ask you, what areas of this squad do you see the Raptors need to address?
Well, I mean, we've been over this ad nauseum over the past few months. They obviously need to go out there and get
but
a
give me
big
a straight
man.
answer.
Well, no, I mean, obviously a big man would be the goal. But you know, I think they need some shooting. I think they need some playmaking. Yeah. So all the stuff we've been talking about over the past few months. Yeah, I think I don't think I need to get too much more into it than that. Because we've covered this already.
So you're talking shooting and big man.
Yeah.
Okay. Coach, here we go, buddy. The Toronto Raptors on the 23rd of this month are drafting at number 33 in the second round, right behind Indiana, Orlando, then the Raptors, OKC, then Orlando again. But what do you see that the Raptors can grab? Because, and mind you, I'm putting you on the spot right here, because last year, during this same discussion on who the Raptors should draft at number 4, we did predict Scotty Barnes coming up. Skip, you didn't. So what would you see coming out of the draft based on what's available that the Raptors can use to address these issues that they have to get them to the next level?
You're asking me to predict 33 spots into the draft? That's insane.
That's a little more difficult, but I see but you raise a good point on, you know, I think Masai has given us hints on what they might be looking for. So in his end of season press conference, he said, if I can have a team of OGs and Precious, we're going to 15 guys. So one prospect in particular that stands out to me out of Marquette is forward Justin Lewis. He has the physical characteristics of OG Anunoby. He is 6'7", just like OG. He's 235, similar to OG. He's got a 7'2" wingspan, very also similar to OG. He was the Big East Most Improved Player of the Year. He's a sophomore in college. The guys that follow the Big East Conference, and I've watched a few interviews on what they say about Justin Lewis, they rave about him. They love his defensive versatility, especially they think that he can guard 1 through 5 at the next level. They think on offense he can probably play 3 through 5, but they
like
think
a Scotty, like an OG kind of player.
Exactly.
Okay.
So he's got the potential to be that high 30% 3-point shooter. He shot 35% this year in college, which is okay. It's pretty good. He was the number 1 option on Marquette, so he got a lot of attention from defenses. He's a very good athlete. He had a standing vertical at the combine, if I I think he was top 5 at 32 inches, which is pretty good. He also needs work on his ball handling, as a lot of guys do come out of college, especially forwards if they're not really playing guards. I would say that his ceiling, if he was to meet that ceiling, is OG Anunoby and Jay Crowder. He's going to be something like that. He's going to be prototypical 3-and-D, and not just the Raptors are moving in this direction of positionless basketball, but every team out there now is looking for versatility. They're looking for guys who can guard ideally 1 through 3, but if you can get 1 through 5, it's even better. So Justin Lewis.
Why not?
Yeah, Justin Lewis is mocked in most drafts quite low in the second round, actually in the 40s and 50s. But what I've learned from watching the draft for about 18 years is forget the second round when it comes to mock drafts. Teams are just looking to draft who they think can probably fit with whatever intangibles that they're looking for and that the prospect brings. So I see Justin Lewis being available at 33 and not dropping to them from the first round.
Okay, that sounds like a good fit based on what you said about versatility and whatever. Now, can I say something, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. Tim, you're an expert on this one. So is our man, Robert. Skip and I are dumb when it comes to this. So, but we do have things that we do want to see. And listen, I got to say it. I would love to see Kai Soto get drafted by the Toronto Raptors.
Well, he's not going to be drafted. He's going to be an undrafted free agent based on all the mocks I'm looking at. He'll be available after the second round. You don't need to reach for him at 33.
Oh, Skip, I'm doing a reach right now.
Yeah.
Here's why I like him. My aunt is Filipino. My cousins are half Filipino. I grew up around a bunch of Filipinos. I played ball with a bunch of Filipinos. Let me tell you, some of them can really ball. Like you running around, you catching a sweat. Like they love the game, right? I have a lot of friends, and I would like to see it for the Toronto culture that we do get. I said we, that Toronto does attain a Filipino player who actually, Skip, you just did say about a big man. He's 7 foot what? Yeah. He's a big dude, right? And I really would love to see that come to play within the Toronto Raptors organization. It would help with the city. I honestly think it would help with what they can produce on the court, right? But there are multiple other players, and Tim, I'm sorry to stifle you, but now let loose. I know you have a freaking laundry list of players that the Raptors can get that would fit into their system, and who else do you think they can grab?
Another guy, or another prospect, I should say, who is quite intriguing, and I can actually see him going before they pick, even though in many drafts he's mocked in the second round, is Jalen Williams out of Arkansas, the big guy. There's 2 Jalen Williams in the draft who could go in similar spots, but
the one with the IN in his name is the one we're talking about. Yeah,
that is correct. So he is 6'10", 237 pounds, 7 foot wingspan, or 7'1" wingspan. Basically averaged a double-double this year in college basketball, basically 11 and 10.
Which is very hard to do.
Which is hard to do. And he was the all SEC first team member. He played against Duke. I believe it might have been in the Elite 8 or Sweet 16. Don't quote me on that. He had 19 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists going up against Paolo Banchero and Mark Williams. That's pretty good for someone who is projected to go in the second round. His strengths, I would say, are he takes a lot of charges, which many big guys don't take charges. His defensive positioning on the court is elite.
Our last guy was Kyle Lowry.
Exactly. So Kyle Lowry had a specialized skill of taking charges. So does this guy. Jalen Williams. He also has consistent shooting form. What I mean by that is when he steps out and he takes a three-pointer, his form's the same every single time. He also has the ability to be an elite playmaker at his size. I encourage people to go on and look at some highlights of him. Some of the passes that he makes, it's Scotty Barnes-esque, what he can do in the high post. He might even have, he's got a little bit, if I had to compare him, I would say he's got the passing abilities of Bam Adebayo, because Bam can really pass too, but he doesn't have quite the motor. He's not quite the athlete that Bam is.
Tim Duncan?
So,
Okay, but here's the thing. I mean, I'm listening to you talk and you're selling me on him, but this guy's getting mocked in the 40s, right? Like, why is he getting mocked in the 40s if he's got that kind of upside?
Maybe he's got some issues. Maybe he's maybe he had 3 pounds of weed in his trunk. Who knows? Yeah, Montrezl Harrell. Saw that. Go on.
Skip, he's not the elite athlete. That's probably why he is mocked lower. Now,
so he's not going to be that switchable guy maybe to fit in with the system.
I would say he will be relying more on his IQ. From what I've seen, is so good. He's just going to be there from a positional standpoint. He'll know where to be. Right. But is he going to jump out of the gym? I don't think so. Okay. It's not to say that he's not a good athlete, because he is. He's just not. I would say Justin Lewis would be a better athlete. I would say Jaden Ivey's been projected quite high in this draft. He's a better athlete. But I think the Raptors would be able to certainly work with him, and he would fit well in their system, I believe.
So from a coach's standpoint, do you see him fitting in within the system as opposed to jumping out of the gym? Like, he knows what to do, knows where to be? Is that what you're saying? I'm
saying that's going to be one of his strengths. Playmaking, IQ. I think the shot form for a three-pointer is there. They'll need to develop it. I really encourage people to go online and look at this guy, the way that he sees the court and the way that he passes. I'm not comparing him to Nikola Jokic. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that he's got flashes of really seeing the court and hitting cutters as they go to the hoop. That is probably his biggest strength right now.
Wow.
Okay. Anyone else jump out at you right now? Hey.
So another guy who really jumps out at me is Christian Koloko. He was the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year. I believe he's from the same village as Pascal Siakam. He played at Arizona. He played with the Canadian Benedict Mathurin. And I've heard people who speak about the Pac-12 who say, yeah, he's the best defensive prospect probably in this entire draft, even better than Walker Kessler. He's an analytics dream, quite frankly. He's 7 foot tall, 7'5" wingspan. They released some video on him shooting threes, which he did not do at Arizona. And that could have been just the system that they were playing. Maybe it just wasn't conducive to big men being a trailer big or just shooting.
Oh, it's not. It's not in Arizona. Yeah.
Yeah. And for many college programs, it really isn't. But he averaged 12 points, 7 rebounds, 3 blocks. His PER was 28, which is really high for college basketball. Keegan Murray had the highest in college basketball, 37.8, and he's going top 5. So Christian Koloko is an analytics dream for a team. And could he be there when the Raptors pick at 33? It's possible, but I also could see him going before 33. I could see him going in the late 20s. A team will definitely take a chance on him because it's hard to pass up on someone with his intangibles.
Yeah, he's really interesting because of the African connection. But both of the mock drafts I looked at had him going right before the Raptors, like 31st or 30th or something. So,
Skip, these mock drafts got to go to hell. I'm dead serious. This is so boring to me when I see the mock drafts. It's like
I agree. Actually,
just making up shit.
They make you crazy.
I think beyond the lottery, there's not that much that's going to be accurate in any mock draft. Things are going to be all over the place. I was looking at 2 mock drafts, and there was you mentioned Walker Kessler. So I had him one mock draft had him like 24th, and I think the other, let me see if I have my notes here, had him like 54th or something. Like it's just all over the place. Like anyway, go on,
because
Brian.
we don't know. But you did say something just now, Tim, about Christian, right? For him to join the Toronto Raptors, would you, as a fellow coach, would you have him off the bench, or would you want to give him that starting role to develop him?
I would give him this. I would give him
okay,
off.
Basically, how would you develop him?
Right. So I would have him coming in off the bench. I think the job is Precious to lose next year. I think Precious will be the starting center. I think if you bring in a guy like Christian Koloko off the bench to be, he's taller and he's longer, and he's going to be able to match up with bigger centers in the league. Now, he's not the biggest guy in the world either. He's about 7 foot, 220 pounds. So he is a little bit thin, but he's also good. He's turning 22, I think, in a couple of weeks. So he's not like he's a young prospect who's 18 years old. He's just finished his junior year at Arizona. I think you can throw him in the rotation next year. Maybe you play him 12, 15 minutes a game. If he develops a 3-point shot, you get a potential gem on your hand.
Yeah, so that actually jumps into my next point. I was going to get into that. So I noticed you're kind of looking at some bigger players, like some wings and some bigger wings and some centers here. But my concern here, and this is going to get into kind of, I think, our next topic about about what the Raptors should go for in this draft.
Let's get into it, Skip.
Yeah, okay. So if you're going to be drafting in the second round, say, do you want to draft a center prospect when you're not necessarily going to have the time to develop him? I mean, normally you see like these big hulking centers get drafted in the lottery. Like, yeah, you're going to run them out there. You're going to give them minutes. They're going to sink or swim, like DeAndre Ayton, for example. But if you're drafting in kind of the second round, is there going to be really an opportunity to develop a big man when you're trying to win, when you're trying to do all this other stuff, versus bringing in someone who could maybe be more of a guard, maybe a wing, just slot in and be a shooter, get his 10 minutes to develop, versus trying to develop some, kind of know what I'm saying? Like, it might be a little bit tougher to really develop. I mean, Koloko is a little bit interesting because I think he's right in that range where he's in a sweet spot for the Raptors niche. But I don't necessarily think that this is where we're going to go to shop for our big man per se. It might be easier to integrate someone else on the positional spectrum into the system. Maybe a wing, maybe a 6'8", maybe another 6'8" wing, but also even a guard. What do you think about that, Tim?
So I get two answers for you on that. One of them is from Nick. One of them is from Nick Nurse and not me. He said at the end of the season about, I want more of a lob threat probably on this team. Christian Koloko could be that guy. I see what you're saying. The rule of thumb is pick the best player available in the draft, because you could, through trades and free agency, that's when you can find out what needs that you have on the team. So if they feel that Christian Koloko is the best player available, regardless of position, that's something they're going to have to consider. And I think it's also, they're going to have to know, how far away is he? Is he ready to? If he's ready to come in now and play, why not play him? He's older than Scotty Barnes. Maybe he doesn't need quite the development that a Jalen Williams might need. Williams is 19.
But you're also probably only looking at 15 minutes a night, I'm assuming, for a second round pick as a rookie. I mean, I don't imagine
Yeah, but a lot of second round picks won't even play that much.
Delano, Malachi.
Yeah.
Who knows how many minutes he's going to get?
Here's my biggest point with Christian Koloko. He is an analytics dream with the numbers that he puts up, and that plays a huge part in the drafting and recruiting process today. If they do go with him, a lot of the numbers don't lie. He will stand out, probably at the NBA level. The question is, his defense is much more ahead than his offense. Are they willing to be patient with him and let his offensive game grow?
I don't think they need to let his offensive game grow exponentially and at a rapid pace. I think what they really need, Skip, as like I said with the first question I asked you, and you answered like, what do they need to address? And I think we all know that the Raptors do need a big. I think if his defensive numbers can speak volumes, then yeah, let the kid play. Keep him Precious, Kem, right down
There is
low.
something to that, yeah.
Let them bang, and get at the Joel Embiids, the Giannis's. Let them get at these.
Well, we're talking about a second rounder. He's going to be going up against backups, I assume, for at least the first few years.
But if he does prove himself, right, the same way Scotty proved himself this past year as the rookie of the year, if he does kind of prove himself, and we've seen flashes of it in of players, young players proving themselves in Delano, Malachi, Champagny.
Yeah,
we have seen some flashes. I'm not saying they're the greatest, Skip. Don't get at me. But we have seen some flashes, and if this kid can actually come up and do that, I think that is nothing more than a benefit for the Toronto Raptors. I would not mind saying goodbye to my dude, homeboy, love this guy, Utah. I wouldn't mind, right, to put this kid in a spot on the team. I think that's a very good pick, Tim. I just looked up his stats. He does look great.
Yeah, I think there's probably a pretty good argument for Koloko based on what I've looked at so far. But my point about the big man is, like, normally if you're drafting a big man in the second round, what kind of upside are you really getting out of that? You're getting, like, usually a guy who at his prime, you're looking at a bench big. Yeah, but if he can come in and he can be a defensive player, like, that'll be the way he earns minutes in a Toronto, on a Nick Nurse team. So yeah, I hear you.
If they are looking for a rim protecting big, he's the guy. If they're looking for versatility, that's not him.
Yeah,
not yet anyway. They would have to look towards maybe a Justin Lewis. Trying to think of somebody else that maybe could slip to them.
I mean, we haven't even touched on any guards yet.
Yes. No, please. If any questions.
Toronto doesn't need any guards. Skip, do you have an idea about a guard?
Yeah, there's a few guards in that range. I'm not sure if they're necessarily going to go for that, but I mean,
come on, you
could really use.
You got Van Vliet. You're good.
You could really use a 3-point threat. Also a playmaker. The one that kind of I was looking at is the Canadian Andrew Nembhard. He's not a super high upside guy. He's a 4-year college player. Obviously, like I said, I didn't do a ton of research on this. I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert, but based on the profile I looked at, he kind of reminds me of a bit of a DeLon Wright type, a guy who kind of slide in as your backup point guard pretty quickly, maybe take those minutes from Delano Banton. Not a really exciting guy, but if you're looking to compete right away, you want someone who you don't have to necessarily bring in and develop over a long period of time. So that would kind of be the argument with going there. Might be a bit of a reach at 33, but that's one guy who's interesting. I saw a couple of the other mocks had them getting
again with these mock drafts.
I mean, it's almost useless to say who the mock had them at 33, because at that point you're just picking names off a board. You're basically picking names out of a hat. But the two names that I saw were Max Christie, who is I think he's a shooting guard.
At Michigan State.
And then Trevor Keels, who's more of a combo guard. They're both a bit younger. I think there might be a little bit interesting. Trevor Keels sounded like he has a good package.
Toronto doesn't need another guard, dude. They don't need another guard.
I would disagree. I think they absolutely need playmaking. Whether
they
you're going to get
playmaking, but they also need big. They need rim protection, right?
Yeah. I mean,
right. That's their main concern right now.
I think there's an argument that they need an elite guard. They don't necessarily need another body because they already have Delano and Malachi fighting for minutes. So if it's just going to be a guy on that level, I can see why you wouldn't want to go in that direction. But
elite, are you hating Freddie?
no, I'm talking like I'm talking an upgrade.
Don't say that, because my mom will kick
I'm talking
your
an
ass.
upgrade on what you have. So if these guys aren't upgrades, maybe you roll with what you got. Maybe you just add more size, because that seems to be Vision 6'9", right? So
every team, or a lot of the scouts who are following this draft, are saying the biggest narrative of this draft is let's get versatility. Versatility says 6'7" to 6'9" can guard three or four positions or five. It's 40 years ago, it's get the 7-footer. Let's see how many 7-footers we can draft and put them in the key. 10 years ago, 5 years ago, let's see how many 3-point shooters we can get. Now it's good to be about the defensive versatility. I think it's probably good to be this way for the next couple of years too. I feel bad for guys who are like 6'3" point guards with 6'5" wingspans, because they're going to get overlooked for a guy who might be 6'8", 6'9". The guy who's 6'3" might be better than him, right?
But that's the thing. Anytime the league zigs, there's always a market inefficiency in the zag. That's how it works. So
wait, hold on. Thank you, Tim, for just capsulizing that for me. What have I been saying for the last couple of weeks, for the last couple of months, for the last year? The Toronto Raptors are changing the style of NBA play, what the players do.
I actually saw a stat today. I don't know how this was measured, but
where did you hear that first, Skip? Where did you hear that first?
Sure, I heard it here. I saw a stat today. I don't know how it was measured. It ranked the most versatile teams in the league, the 5 most versatile teams, and the 5 least versatile teams. And the Raptors were the #1 most versatile team defensively in the league.
You're goddamn right. Yeah. You're damn right. And that's why I wanted to ask you guys, like, especially you, Tim, who would the Raptors draft to fit into this? Because let's face it, I've said this before, ladies and gentlemen, and we are watching it right now, currently in the NBA Finals, that the 3-point is king, right? That's what you need. But the Raptors are changing the style of play in versatility in that whole, like you guys said,
I think
6'9".
The Raptors are gambling that you can, if you draft guys who can defend the 3, then they can learn how to shoot the 3. Versus drafting guys who can shoot the 3 and then can't learn how to defend it.
Why not? I could teach any of you guys out there how to shoot.
Yeah.
In an hour. Give me an hour. I'll teach you how to shoot.
There's a guy in this draft who is listed the mid-first round, but I've seen him as high as 6 to Indiana. His name is Jeremy Sohan. Plays for Baylor University. Why is he listed? Why is he going so high in some mock drafts? He's 6'9", and he can defend at least 4 positions right now. I could probably list 10 guys who right now are better than him, especially offensively. I can probably list offensively. I can say Ben Mathurin. I could say Johnny Davis. I could say AJ Griffin. Shaden Sharp's a big mystery, Canadian kid. Possibly him. Let's see, Ochai Akabaji from Kansas. Malachi Branham. Jaden Hardy's a possibility. EJ Liddell, he's someone I had possibly falling. I hope he does. Good numbers. Marshawn Beauchamp played in the G League. Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams. And I'm gonna give a shout out to Kendall or to Kenyon on this one. Jake Laveria. He was been talking to me about him, and he is a jack of all trades as well. He scores, he rebounds, he assists, steals. His advanced numbers are good. He might go late first round, maybe early second. But because Jeremy Sohan is so versatile right now, and don't get me wrong, he's got upside. Would I have him go 6 in this draft if I was Indiana? No.
Well, you see that I like what you said, because that's what the Raptors have changed.
Yep.
They've changed this culture.
Absolutely.
Well, and I think they have realized after the Malachi Flynn pick that you have to draft for athleticism too, and that they can't really chase I mean, whatever they were chasing, that kind of like low floor, low ceiling kind of guy, maybe doesn't work for what they're trying to do.
They just wanted a Fred VanVleet prototype.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they were going
man.
for, but it hasn't worked out. I mean, I still think he's got a shot to be useful, but
it hasn't been utilized.
But he's not.
It hasn't worked out. It hasn't been utilized.
Yeah, but if you're gambling for upside, that's where you want to get those guys who are more athletic and more versatile. So,
but with Flynn though, his last year of college basketball, the analytics showed that he was going to be really good. And I think he won the top point guard of the NCAA.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They got a guy who was a really good college player, but didn't necessarily have the athleticism or the size to really stand out in the NBA. Versus a guy like I can't really think.
Yeah, I'll blame
Norman
for that.
Powell maybe was around that developed into a much better player over the years. But
yeah, I'll blame me for not playing him as much.
Okay, so guys, great conversation. Tim Roache. Do you have anything left to say to put out there for the draft when it comes to your Toronto Raptors drafting at 33rd on June 23rd?
So I've mentioned about Justin Lewis as a possibility. I think he will be. I've also mentioned Christian Koloko and Jalen Williams, the taller version of Jalen Williams. Also keep in mind Kendall Brown. He's someone who is falling. He's listed as top 10 first of the year. Had a bad year I wouldn't say bad year at Baylor, but he's 6'7", 6'8". He basically fits what the Raptors do, and he could fall. Elite athlete. Also be mindful of Ishmael Kamagate. The Raptors had him in for...
I gotta write that down. You gotta send me how to spell his name.
So take a look at Ishmael Kamagate. They've had him in for a workout. They've been scouting him a lot in France this year. 6'11", similar to Christian Koloko, I guess you could say. I've heard that his ceiling is Clint Capella. That would be quite a player you could draft at 33. The question is do they want to develop him, or how much development does he need? That's the biggest question. But if they're going to Paris to watch him a lot, they're interested. So
the Raps organization, they will develop a player. Skip.
Yep.
Do you, based on what the coach Tim Roache just said, who do you think will come out of here before we get out of here?
Who do I think the Raptors are going to pick? Or
yeah, I know you're like, well, whatever's left.
I'm sold. Okay, I'm sold on the Koloko pick if he's there. But this is the thing. This whole thing, as much fun as this episode was to do, this whole thing is a fool's errand in a lot of ways because drafts are so unpredictable. We know each team has their big board.
Negative. Like he always wants to bring you down. But go on, Skip.
Every team has their big board. Every team has their guys just ranked in a slightly different order. You never know who's going to fall. You never know who's going to be there, especially this far down the board. It was a different thing last year when we were drafting 4th overall, and it was kind of between 3 or 4 guys. You're just kind of sitting there. Maybe you have your guy, and then you look over, and someone who you thought was going to be drafted 20 spots ago is just sitting there because of an injury or something. So you never know who's going to fall. But it was fun just to learn some of the names and just to get a sense of what's out there.
Go ahead, Tim. Before we head out.
This draft probably doesn't have the superstar talent that last year's draft did.
Nothing generational.
I don't think so, but what a lot of the scouts and the experts are saying, basically from about 10 to 30, anybody could go anywhere. It's more of this draft will have like guys who will be rotation players, like good rotation players. Besides the top 3 who are going to go, Chet Holmgren, Jabari Smith, and Paolo Banchero, the rest, from about like 10 to 25, 10 to 20, they could go anywhere. If you're mocked at 10, you could go 20. If you're mocked at 20, you go at 10. That's what this draft is kind of difficult to assess more.
Yeah. Guys, great conversation, but we're kind of running out of time here. Tim, Amazing insight, my man. Amazing. Before we get out of here, I still want Kai Soto. I still want to see my Filipino people stand up.
You could sign him in summer league. Same with Julian Champagny. We haven't even called him out. He'd be a summer league sign.
Yeah.
He can join the Raptors, but the Raptors don't need to go young. They already got what they got. They can just utilize assets. But that's just my take. Tim, thank you again so much for your insight. You just educated myself, Skip, and a lot of people out there on what's available, and we really appreciate that. Again, thank you so much. Skip? Yeah, whatever. I'll talk to you later. You know, go find the one and only Simon Broder, simonbroder.com. Go buy the book, amazon.ca. Get a package, have someone steal it, because we all know how that rolls. The one and only Coach Tim Roache. Tim Roache on Twitter. Skip, you can throw that up. Myself, you guys know where to find me. King Hussein on everything. Make sure you guys go down there, click subscribe, click like. We really appreciate it. Thank you again to our man Arturus for the thumbnail today and the post-production. He heard you guys talking smack about him last time. Okay, that problem is solved. So give me another problem that y'all want to fix. All right, we'll deal with that. Okay. So on behalf of the one and only Coach Tim Roache, my man Simon Skip Broder, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and
Peace.